Meet the world's first R&D tax credit consultant. I am an automation engineer, and my job is to automate business tasks, to automate middle management white-collar work through the application of artificial intelligence. So today we're going to share our story, how we transitioned from a traditional consultancy into an AI company. So let's take a look at the specific case of research and development, and specifically the global definition of research and development and the application of a scientific method. So there is over 100 countries that have some form of assistance to their sectors and industries to be able to advance the technology base through product development and innovations. And they all follow, in general, a global definition of research and development. In the United States, it's the 4-part test. In Canada, it's the 5 questions. In the UK, it is technological uncertainty related. So let's take a deeper look as to how artificial intelligence can automate those workflows. So to understand that, let's understand the definition of artificial intelligence software in comparison to traditional software. So the important definition for us is that artificial intelligence versus traditional software, which requires a hard-coded system response, which means that any information or any calculation that's made on an output based on input data has to be programmed, has to be instructed by the programmer or by the human programmer. So every single action has to have a line of code, which is hard-coded, and that line of code will deliver the response specifically to the input data. So compare this to an AI system where that is not necessarily the case. So the AI system is characterized with learning algorithms, which means that based on the input data, it is not specifically instructed how to respond by a human direction. More so, it's going to learn through the data that it analyzes and through representations and through analysis of the word vectors and the patterns that are created by the words. The system will respond in that fashion. So let's take an example. Let's look at, if we tell a hard-coded system that a dog is an animal and a dog is also a pet. So if we ask a hard-coded system, what's a cat? The traditional software will not be able to respond. So ask the AI system what a cat is. If you feed it sufficient data, meaning like a story about cats and dogs, it will have sufficient information to make probability arguments related to the patterns that are formed and relate that dogs are similar in nature to cats. And it will be able to determine on its own that a cat is also an animal and that a cat is also a human pet. So that is quite significant because it solves a very complex linguistic problem. So here we're talking about one subfield of artificial intelligence, which is NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming. So let's take a look at the R&D tasks that are executed either by consultants or internal middle managers, and let's just break those down quickly. So one of the major activities are technical interviews. So the R&D representation must understand the workflow, and it'll do so by extended discussions through email conversations, scheduled meetings, through physical meetings, perhaps telephone conversations, and drafting technical information and going back and forth, confirmations. So the AI looks at this and it says, this is really slow. It's really slow to be able to communicate information in dialogue the way that we're doing now. So the AI will be able to have a natural conversation the same way that the human consultant or human manager has a natural conversation. The AI will be able to have the same conversation in natural dialogue and capture all that information at the time that the development work occurs. So this is quite significant because you can scale the AI system, which means if you want to do one company, You can do one company if you want to do 10. You can do 10 simultaneously if you wanted to do 100, 1,000. So you can see where we're going with this. The capability of the AI system can scale very fast, making it a very disruptive technology. The next component is cost analysis or time surveys, understanding who or what team members are involved in the development work and be able to resolve any of the challenges that the company is faced with. So capturing the time. So the AI systems, in our case SHAIN will be able to capture that information as he moves along and conducts his technical interviews. And of course, as he captures that information, then it's automatically computed into an elaborate timesheet report. So if we look at the next activity related to executing R&D mandates, creation of technical narratives is a big component, and this is a pretty labor-intensive step where the work has to be understood, and it's understood again through meetings and dialogues and research, perhaps online research, and then drafting and understanding and representing the work. So, typing out quite elaborate, long reports. So this requires quite a bit of human capital. So the AI system, once it conducts the interviews and starts understanding the technical work, based on its training and based on its knowledge base or word corpus set of scientific vocabulary, it will be able to represent and understand the work that's being done and create a pretty accurate draft in natural language, which is really at the equivalent level of a PhD professor, because our system, SHAIN, has been trained in linguistics by many PhD level text sets. So we're looking at a technology that can really reduce the tedious work and high level of human capital that's required to execute these tasks. And then we come down to the study or the analysis of the support documentation or the creation of the study or support documentation. And this requires, again, quite a bit of manual work in terms of assembling, locating, organizing, and representing the work that's being done. And again, the AI at the same time will be able to create a multi-chapter scientific document within a few seconds, which typically takes weeks and sometimes even months. So a quite significant advancement in the process of the R&D manager or R&D consultant. If we jump a little bit forward and let's take a look at the impact. So what's going to happen to the traditional R&D consultant now? Will he be around for much longer if these AI systems are able to execute pretty much all or a large portion of the tasks? So our opinion here is that the AI system that will evolve will not completely replace consultants, but will change their role. And the role will eliminate a lot of the tedious, mundane work that's associated with lots of manual labor in terms of perhaps typing, meeting, discussions. So all these very slow steps are now automatable through AI. So if we take a look at the history of the sector, to answer that question with a little more detail, let's take a look at the history. If you look at those, the countries that implemented any form of subsidy program over the time, these occurred in the early 1980s or late 1970s, so about 40 or so years ago. And the industry has not evolved in terms of any significant innovations. The activities are pretty much the same. It's through dialogue. It's through typing out documents, although back then typewriters were still in use. So to put things in perspective, this is going back quite a long time. Put things in perspective, 1981 is when IBM launched the PC, or the personal computer. So we're looking at a pretty significant time frame, and what other sector has not gone through any significant transformation through technology? So we're looking at a sector that is very ready to be disrupted by a new technology, and the field of artificial intelligence, and specifically neuro-linguistic programming, is very well positioned to be able to disrupt a lot of the activities and really redefining the role of the R&D consultant or R&D manager. So if we want to add the future, let's take a little more of a detailed look and let's add the future. So let's see what's going to happen next year or in 2 years. And the future is only going to favor the development of the AI systems because they're going to become stronger, faster. In our case, Shane, his technique through software programming is actually going through repeated upgrades. So we're working always on the next generation systems to make them better, faster. And now you combine the acceleration of processor speeds that are increasing significantly the rate of calculations of computer chips, and the final component which will significantly enhance the AI capability is the data transmission. So slowly we are transitioning from a 4G network to a 5G network. And that may not seem like a lot, but that is a significant jump in the ability to communicate remotely. And this will only favor the AI systems. So even today, our AI system is completely capable of executing mandates at a significant time reduction, and only the future is going to make it better and faster. Thanks for watching. This is, let's conclude this segment on how artificial intelligence is going to impact the R&D manager or R&D consultant, and stay tuned for other segments how artificial intelligence will impact other business operations. Thanks for watching.